Hello, it's John, bench fisherman. Today on the bench, hey, I got one of my favorites, the old Diawa Silver Series, and this is a beautiful. This thing's gonna clean up nice. It's a 2600C. I picked it up at auctions in really good shape. I've got two of these actually. This one's made in Japan. That makes it special. They made these in Japan in the early years, and at some point they switched to. Oh, wait a minute. Both these are Japan. Okay, that's good. At some point they switched to, and here is Korea. That's a 4000C. Another great reel. It's in pretty decent shape. A great surf reel. Uh, this would be like a heavy salt or heavy fresh light salt. But the Japanese reels are very well made. Nothing against the Koreans, but these reels are just better made. But this one, look at it. It's stiff. It's as stiff as I am. It's like my back on a cold winter morning. If you want a comparison, that's about how I move on a cold winter morning. But let's take it apart. Let's see what she's made of. Let's see what's under the hood, as we say in the automotive mechanic field. I've rebuilt some of these reels over the years. I should build this in my sleep. Here's your drag stack. I'm going top to bottom here. I don't even need to know that because I know that. You want to make sure that bait clicker is working. This one was lined up at a place called Thurston's on 5/6 of 1982. That's when this reel would have been brand new, 1982. The world record drum was caught on a Silver Series, a 7,000 size. I've got a bunch of those. World record red drum on the Outer Banks near Buxton. And I believe 1982. That's what made me think of that when I saw the 82 on there. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm sure that fish sold them a lot of reels. he was a big one. That's a hell of a fish for a 7,000 series reel, spinning gear at that. And back in the day when the rods were good but not great. Okay, so we got all that apart. Let's take the side cover off. I'm going to be real careful with this one because it's in pretty good shape. I don't want to tear it up. These screws are beautiful. There's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, it's giving me a fit already. Trying to be careful. That's not going so well. I'm going to end up stabbing my fingers, my hand probably. It's going to be interesting just because the amount of corrosion when I get to these screws up here. They normally break off. And if they do, I may have a little bit of a hard time fixing it. Like I said, this is a 2600 SC. It's a manual trip bail. These are very hardy reels. There's not many things can go wrong while I'm on the water. They have a decent drag. I wouldn't say it's equal to Penn, but it's pretty damn good. But if you compare that drag to a spin fisher in this size, it's comparable. It's equal. It's also Teflon. Penn used fiber washers back then. I think into the 80s they may have still been using leather washers. So we'll pull this side cover off. It's a bushing reel. It's not yeah, it's just really stiff. So we're going to get it out here to where I can get to that screw. Always run your crosswind, spin your reel to your crosswinds out to where you can get to that screw. Got the heat on. Chilly out here in the garage on Wednesday afternoon before Thanksgiving. We'll pull the shaft out. Good day, that thing was gummy. She's gonna clean up nice. And then now you can pull the main shaft off. That normally doesn't happen, but the crosswind came off of the crosswind gear. You got bushings on here. The bushings are locked up. I'm going to have to get them off. This one might come off, yeah. I suppose this reel could be upgraded to bearings if a man wanted to. I don't really see any point of that. Good day. That's some old grease, folks. All right. Good shot, John. Get better at that. Try to work this side off. Boy, I tell you what, that one, the grease has turned into glue. I hate to use a good screwdriver for pry, but I want to get up under that really well. Without tearing it up. Once you get it going, and you always got your backup plan of don't tear the gears up. I kind of scuffed that one. I might have to sand on that one a little bit. But once you get it moving, your backup plan can always be to spray some WD-40 on there to help it go a little easier. There is a washer or a shim underneath there, and it's getting a little bummed up too, but it'll be okay. Once I put it all back together, it'll go back to where it's supposed to be. Man, that thing is on there. Let's see how good a job I can do shooting that one off of there. Yeah, it's been dry for a long time. So that's why the reel was choked. It was, see, I kind of bent that up a little bit, and I got a couple little places to file on that. That's okay. That's got a shim on this side too. That's important to keep those shims on the right side. Keep a note of that. That one goes with that one. I'll get this one off. I have to use a sharp little blade. That one goes with that one. I'll keep that up. I'll probably put some, here we go. It's important to keep these together. I could probably tell by this being a little bit beat up where I was trying to get it out of there, but we'll go ahead and, just to be safe, we'll put a pipe cleaner through it. Okay, now, what's next? We're making progress here. Let's take this main shaft, main nut off. Oh, it's a 14 millimeter. Look, the stuff is just like plastic. This can be kind of a pain too. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold it in my hand. We'll take the nylon side of the hammer, get it right there. Okay. Got that apart. Here's all your mechanism up in here in good shape. Sometimes these are not easy to get out. Yeah, this is probably going to fight me just a little bit. I'm going to try this screwdriver here. I'm not feeling real confident. There it goes. Okay. Pay attention to how this friction plate's in there. This friction plate's what draws the anti-reverse dog back into position to lock the reel from turning in reverse. This can all come off together. You can take it like that. It'd be easier probably in this case. Okay. I don't see any shims. That comes out of there. That went in there like that, and then that like that. I don't have to take this off, and I don't think I'm going to. I don't have to take, well, I might want to take that off just to clean behind it. I'm not going to take this off, but I will take that off. Let's take the retainer off of it, get to the bearing. 2600C. I've caught a few fish on these, mostly bluefish, off the pier. Just the right size for some blue fishing. Especially if you're throwing a gotcha plug or something. Actually, might be a little big for a gotcha, but that's what we threw them on back in the day. I remember when gotcha plugs came out. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? I don't think half people today realize they've been out that long. Retainer. The bearing feels great. Just go clean it up good. And there's your pinion gear. A lot of dried grease up in there. Look at that green dried grease. We're going to take this off because I want to clean up under here really well. Take the screw off. We'll keep these parts separate. Maybe over here. That comes off. There's no washer underneath there, no bushing. You're going to have to throw this like that and pull it out, and the spring will come with it. Keep that all together. And now I can clean this body really nice. This one's going in my collection. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. It's a little bit nicer than the 2600 SC that I currently have. Okay, let's have some real fun now. If there's going to be any stuck bolts, it's going to be, or stuck screws, it's going to be these guys up here. Let's take this one off. I'm going to use a bigger, always match your screwdriver with your slot. Take that. If this is made like the bigger Diawas, it's going to have a bushing. All right, there's a nylon washer in there. I'm going to keep all the rotor parts right here together. And there should be, no, that one don't have it. Sometimes I got a nylon bushing in there. This one didn't have it. Now we're going to take this screw here off, but we're going to give it a little bit of help. We'll soak that really good. And there's the hole for the screw comes out right down in here. I might not get anything out of my, that's not good. There it goes. We're going to put a little bit of pearl oil down there and right here. We'll give this thing all the help we can. Just trust me on this. Once bitten, twice shy on these screws. I broke a bunch of them off. Oh, that thing was loose. Gotta love it. We get one more screw off. This reel is definitely a shelf piece. There you go. There is a weight up under there. It should be glued in. You don't have to worry about that. Now, same thing over here. Well, let's get this part off first. But we're also going to give it some help because they stick sometimes. I don't think this one's going to. Give it a little bit of help. Let's leave that out. Yeah, that one's fine. This reel is, maybe it wasn't used in salt water. Just kind of had that appearance to it. And we're going to have a bell spring. All right, we're going to give that one a little bit of help. I don't think we're going to need it. This reel's in great shape. We get this screw out, this reel is golden. It's good. Look at that. There it is, the last one. You heard that little snap. That's just the bell spring relieving what little bit of tension it had on it there. Bell spring's good. No breaks in it. There it is. This is going to get cleaned up. It's going to look great. I got to do some scraping. I'll just show you for the hell of it what this stuff, it looks clear there, but look how much of it there is. And I'll just take the old screwdriver that don't mean nothing to me. This is an old O'Reilly's pocket screwdriver. And I'll just go around there and lightly, without gouging the metal, push that old nasty grease off of there. It's pretty much all over it. Give the cleaning equipment a little bit of a chance to get this stuff off because it's pretty thick on there. Once I get it kind of broke up, I'll take a rag and get it. Look at this side. Look, this stuff is coming up in chunks. I'm just putting it on an old rag here. See how it's coming off of there? I'll try to get you in frame a little bit better. That's some old grease. 1982, folks. I was in high school and spending a lot of time on the Outer Banks. I was like an Outer Banks junkie at that time. Every chance I got to go to the Outer Banks with my dad or my uncle, man, all they had to do, I was like an old dog. All I had to do is say, get in the truck, and I'd go running, I was ready. I loved that place and still do. But back then, they did the driving, and I'd sit there and sleep all the way down. We'd get down there, and my boat would be on that pier fishing. They were wore out from driving. Now that I'm an adult and got to do all that driving and pay for that gas, it's a whole lot different. But, man, I still love the Outer Banks. It's a place in my heart that I'll never, for as long as I live, the memories I had down there of just being a young kid or even a teenager or young adult out there, the ocean, the pier, the pretty girls that come out on the pier in the bikinis, the girls you see on the beaches, I had a good time. Why not, right? I was a young man, enjoyed that stuff. But I was there to fish. I wasn't there to party. That's the whole thing. It's all about the fishing. Get all that stuff off of there, and then when I put it in the parts washer, it's easy to get cleaned out. But look how much crud is in this reel. To look clear and not that dirty, it sure is. It sure is throwing me off. I didn't think it was going to be that caked up in there. Right here was one part of it that was really, really slowing the reel down on the pinion gear, and that's going to require some extra scraping. It's not going to come out very easily. I'll probably have to get it soaked in some WD-40 before it starts to get free. Back to the Outer Banks. My favorite times as a kid were on the Outer Banks with my dad and my uncle. And God rest their souls, they're both gone. Lost my uncle in 1995. I lost my dad in 2003. There it is. I'll clean it up, and it's going to be a beautiful reel. Come on back. I'll be back. Hey, this is John. I'm back on this nice 2600 SC. Let's put this bad boy back together. In beautiful shape. Really only a couple of things that I had to work a little extra on, but it'll turn out, it'll be nice. You'll be surprised. This reel was a little bit locked up when I got it. So, and then it finally started turning a little bit there when I was taking it apart for the video. But go ahead and we'll start out with the rotor. I always like to get that over with first. These aren't too bad. They're pretty simple. You got a little hole right there that the bell spring goes into. The bell spring pretty much will go either way. And you want to put a little grease on top of that bell because it does slide back and forth underneath that cover. So give it a little help there. It'll take some friction off of it. Then you can put this cover on there loosely. You don't want to tighten it up just yet. I'll show you why. That on there. You got two different screws here. One's more of a button head, and one's, I don't know what you call it. But the one that will go down more flush goes on this side of the reel. Goodness gracious. Give me a break here. All right. Working inside before I head outside to work on my car today. I'm off. Thanksgiving. Got to keep my junk running so I can go work on everybody else's junk. I just leave that kind of loose right there. Hook that bell spring into that hole. Okay. And then slip it around where that locks in there just like that. And then it gets, well, it's going to get just a dab of grease. Then you got this black standoff, I guess, for lack of any other term, and then your screw. Now, once you get that tight and make sure that your bell is working as it should, then you can tighten down that screw. You don't have to kill it on tightness, just snug, okay? So, this is a manual bell. It hits a trip on the reel right there, so we'll leave that as is. Let's go over here to this end. We'll put a little bit of grease up in here. And this goes on like this, and then the screw with the more rounded, I don't know what you call that. I'm not good on my hardware nomenclature. Somebody out there is like, it's called this, you dummy. I've been a mechanic my whole life. I could care less as long as it gets tight and it don't break after I fix it. But this is the screw that goes on this side. They're a little bit different. You can see it's got more of a rounded head, and this has got, I don't know what you call it. That's technical. That's some technical stuff right there. A little bit of grease right there. A little bit of oil right here for the roller. Put the roller on. This little standoff goes on right here. Line it all up. Tighten it down. Your roller should still roll with the screw snug. You want it snug enough where it doesn't wobble in here. You know, you want it, but you don't have to have it super tight. You don't want to stretch the bolt. So that's that. Okay. All right. We'll put the pinion in it. Freeze it all up good. Put some grease down here. This is where you need like 3 hands, you know. Just pack some grease in where that, whoops, where that pinion goes up into that support. And go ahead and put your bearing in. The bearing does not go in like that. The bearing goes in with the shielded side, the plastic shield, rubber shield goes out. And I just did that wrong. The bearing goes on the shaft first. And then it will go there like that. We're going to put this bearing retainer in. There's 3 screws. It only goes one way. Pack a little grease in those screw holes just to be safe. It goes in like this. And I'm not going to be able to get my fingers down in there, so we're going to go to my secret weapon here, screw setter. I haven't used it in a while in a video. It's made in USA, patent pending by HJJ and Company, Oakland. Looks like Oakland, California. Oh, I guess something good did come out of California. There you go. Right. Yeah, that was fun. Drop something down into the tray and can't get to it. Grunginess down in the tray. All right. Okay. Yeah, I can't get my big old fingers down there to start those. So this thing, you push it in. I should have shown how it works, but you push it into the screw and it spreads and grips the screw by the slot. And I use that thing a lot. A handy little tool right there. Next thing we're going to do is the anti-reverse reverse lever. Anti-reverse shut-off lever. I don't know what they call it. Seeing I left a little bit of old grease in there. Let's get that out. Really hard to get the scrub brush in every little nook and cranny on this thing when you don't take every little thing out of it. There's a place that spring sits down in there, so you keep that in mind. There's no grease in that spool there, John. Okay. So this got dirty somewhere. There's a lot of old chunks of grease that came out of this reel laying. I should have changed that out while I had the reel apart, but you can put this in just like this. A little bit tricky. Then you got to get something, feed that spring. Goes like that. Spring. Spring doesn't want to cooperate. Okay. I'm gonna kind of get the gummit. Come on, spring. There again, I can't get my fingers down in there, so I'm just going to have to go with what I can. Get it in place. Great. Okay. Got that in place. You got to kind of feed that spring goes down in that hole right there. Now we're going to put the handle on it to hold it all in place. It's keyed, so it only go on there one way. Kind of line those keys up. Of course, it's not going to cooperate. God, dog it, come on now. Why is it not going back together? Game part's super easy. Okay. Well, for whatever reason, there it goes. Man, that was a bit of a fight. Put your screw in. There again, it takes a screw over here that's just like the screw there. It's got that more rounded head. Stove bolt, maybe? I don't know. And when you throw this, it shuts the anti-reverse off. So we're missing a couple things here, right? This will go on. Then this goes on with this. You put those little tension gears before I get it on there. Let's put some grease on it. And it goes just like that. See how it is? There's no spring. This screw goes in. Not real complicated, just got to get the order right on it. I'm not sure what the SC is compared to the C, because I've got some 2600 Cs. I'm wanting to say it's got to be something to do with this, the way this anti-reverse is. I'll show you when I get the reel all together. Okay, so when you cut that off, there's where it comes back. There's the anti-reverse. There's your clicker. The anti-reverse is made to where it only locks it in one position. That's to line it up with your finger to cast. And I'll show you that when I get it all together. Now we can go ahead and put the spool on it. We're done out here. Oh, hang on. Left my compressor on. That's always good. Now, there's no Loctite or anything on this nut. It's just threaded on there. That's how it came. So that's how it's going back. Snug it up. All right. Now, if you'll remember, the bushing that goes on the non-handle side, well, that's not correct, because you could have the handle on either side of this reel. But you remember, I put the shim with it, and it goes over here on this side. Let's get this some grease on this bad boy. I'm going to put this reel in my collection. I don't plan on using it right off the bat. Most of these reels will never get used again. They go into my collection and sit on a shelf, but I want them ready. If I want to pick one up and go fishing, I want the drag right. I want the gears right. I want everything about the reel right. Therefore, I build them just like I'm going to go catch a trophy fish with them. That's just how I feel about it. Okay. So it gets this shim here, and then this bushing doesn't want to fit it good. Remember I said I might have to work on this thing. All right, let's clean it back off just a little bit. It's a little stiff right out here at the outer edge. So what I'll do is, if I can find it. Well, I had some emery cloth here. Here it is. Take some emery cloth, polish it up. It doesn't take much. It's probably just got like a little burr on or something, and that bushing could have swollen over the years. You know, it's got some burrs right there. That's what the problem is. What I'll do is, to get that little bit of grit off of there, rinse it off. Some WD-40. I'm not liking how that's a fitting. Yeah, that's good. It should turn into bushing. That's fun. Let's see. Get into some crazy stuff here. Pretty good burr right up there at the edge. We'll just take that off. I don't know why, but it should turn into bushing. The bushing shouldn't turn into housing. That's never a good idea. Yeah, right there's really bad rough spot. Wow. It looks like it had some corrosion there. Right at the very edge. Okay. That's not a lot better. Oh my goodness. Got on there. Come on. All right. Backup plan. I can't take too much more metal off and feel comfortable about it. So let's roll the emery cloth up. You grew up in the 70s, you know how to roll something, right? Just roll that up tightly as you can. Put it up in that bushing, that plastic bushing. If you can, then rotate it on the emery cloth so you get it nice and smooth. I think it's just swollen. But this should definitely turn, the crankshaft should turn inside of the bushing, not the bushing turn inside the housing. So this is where the problem was with this reel. Let's see if we got it. Shit, not real happy with that. This is turning out to be quite the repair here. Maybe something was just not right from the factory with this Diawa. Give a little chamfer. Maybe the problem's right on the edges. Be careful when you use these X-Acto knives. They don't have much mercy. All right. No, that's not right. No, it's the plastic swollen. Why do I keep getting into these weird freaking situations? I don't understand it. This reel's been sitting for a long time. Ah, that pinched me in. That's good. Ah, got me. Well, see how bad this one is. That one's gonna need work too. All right, I'm gonna cut the camera and come back because I'm gonna have to do some work here on these bushings. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I think I've got something I can work with now. Man, I tell you what, those bushings were really swollen from the lubricant over the years, and it took a little bit, but I got something I can work with now. I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, goes down in there. Now let's see if we got this one better. Yes. Okay. So I've got two shim or two bushings I can work with. Let's grease it up good down in here. Okay. Your crosswind gear should get a little bit of grease to it. I got grease on this gear. Let's go ahead and grease them both. That's the only thing I can figure is the grease might have been a petroleum based grease and it got into those bushings and swelled them up. All right. We will grease this up good. Put grease on those slides in there because this piece here does slide back and forth on those. Goes in like this. Okay. We don't want to put the shaft in yet. Let's put the gear in. All right. Gear is in. Go ahead and put that shim on there. This will go into the housing. We can go ahead and put the shaft in now. Always put a little bit of oil on the shaft. If it's going to be using salt water, you can put just a dab of grease. But for this reel, I'm just going to go with the oil. You get it in there and line that hole up and put this screw in there. Okay. We're getting there. You can put this bushing up in this side, and they're just like that. Go ahead and grease that. I prefer a little bit of grease on bushings. Oil on bearings, grease on bushings. That's just what I've always done. Also, it depends on the environment it's operating in. So, whoops, well, it came off. I'll just go ahead and put it on there. I grease those holes up. keep any saltwater intrusion out of them. And run the screws in. Didn't think this was going to turn into a 3-part video. That international video I did a few videos back, that was a tough one, man. I went back and watched that. It was an hour and 20 some minutes long. Good day. I don't like to make videos that long, but that reel, it needed every bit of what I did to it. It's still not way it should be from the factory. And I didn't miss any parts. I didn't get anything out of order. It's just something's just not quite polished off smooth inside of it. And it could be the drag. It's got a brand new drag. I did stick with the new drag. I probably could have put the original drag back in it and that reel would have smoothed right out, but I kind of wanted to get a fresh drag on. I think it will smooth it out with use. And they do that sometimes. Now we can put the handle in. Now this handle has a you screw it out. And so you want to get some oil down in there. Keeps the corrosion out of those threads. Keep seeing things I missed. That had some grease down in it. Old grease too. I totally missed that. Okay. We'll go ahead and put a little bit of oil right in here. The pivot point, and then you got to oil the handle right in here. Okay. That in. Put the retaining screw in it. I was flipping through Facebook the other day and saw a picture of the world record red drum that was caught with a Silver Series Diawa on the Outer Banks down near Hatteras. And it was caught in 1982, I believe. IGFA world record. Boy, it wasn't that smooth when I got it, was it? You see how it comes back to, I don't know where it's coming back to, but I don't have any control over that. That's where the way the reel is made. I would have preferred to come back to right there. All right. Well, it's smooth. It's as smooth as it's going to get. You see what I'm saying? I would rather come back to about right. But I guess, okay, in defense of the engineer who designed this, if you flip the bell here and you go to crank it, but if you were to flip it right here, see, you have to kind of fight it a little bit. So, okay. All right. I digress. We're good. All right. It's oily as hell. I'll wipe it off when I get done. Let's do the drag. Spool was in really good shape. Not much corrosion. The line out clicker is working. We will put just a drop of oil. I use this Lucas, is fine. And then go with the first washer, which is like a leather washer. Probably could have used some cows. That's okay. And then we got keyed washer. Then a Teflon. I do just drop oil on Teflons. I don't put cows on Teflon. Eared washer. Little drop of oil. Teflon. Drop of oil. And then your last keyed washer. And then all that's retained in by this clip. that. And a little grease on those threads. Spin it till it drops. Put the knob on it. Let's wipe off all this excess. Pretty wet. I used a lot of oil on this thing, especially the handle. I think I got way too much oil on the handle. Just go through and, man, this reel is, look, you can tell how much a reel's been used. If it gets real beat up right here, I'm setting the rod down, whatever, this reel's not used at all. Everything's good and tight on it. The bushings were a little too tight. Okay. Going on the shelf. I like that reel. I got two of them up here to do. I don't know how I wound up with two of them at the same time. And your drag is just super smooth. Daiwas were known for that. That's why they caught record fish. And see this other, hold on a second. That's an SC, right? This is a C. Oh boy. It stops wherever. It doesn't have that feature where it goes back to one place. Well, there it is, folks. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video. If you want to see more, I've got probably 100 reels over here to do. Everything from Zebco 33s and 600s and 202s to really nice modern day pins that I use. I got a slidey mag over there for myself. I bought it for myself for Christmas. Anyway, just wanted to say, hey, subscribe to my channel. Come back for more. This is John Vince Fisherman. Y'all have a good day.